Hello everyone, my name is Joshua Plays Games. Welcome to the Three Guys One Mic Late Night Podcast, where I am joined by my friend Drunk Grandpa
How you doing, young folks?
and Cruiser 123.
What's going on?
So
Well,
let's talk about
I
the
really can't get
coronavirus.
over the fact. Really can't get over the fact,
About
that they're
what?
finally coming back out with vinyl records.
Ah, I heard about that. It sounds like
What do you
a
mean you heard about it? You're telling me you ain't strolled down the nice aisle over there to Walmart?
not yet. I haven't had the chance to.
Come on, man, they're even to the point where they're selling 33 singles.
Oh, 33 singles. Sounds interesting.
What do you mean it sounds interesting, bro? They got Star Wars. Who wouldn't want that?
I don't know. Maybe the vast community of Star Wars?
Bro, there's more than just the community of Star Wars of people who enjoy some of the orchestral music.
That
Why
is
do you
true.
think waltzes existed?
But I don't know. How about you elaborate on that?
You see, this is the. I'm not being rude there, Mr. Host, but I can tell you what, this is the problem with the young folk. They don't, like, I was watching on the other day of television. They were showing these kids that were about 7, 8 years old, didn't even know what a dial up telephone was.
Nowadays, most people don't know what a dial-up telephone is.
Yeah,
Yeah, just like you don't know what a rotary mower is. Well, then
yeah.
again,
These
they are
days
selling
it's
both.
just these days it's just cell phones.
It may just be cell
Yeah.
phones, but you never know. People may
Yeah,
go
you
back
never
to
know.
using handheld telephones again, like the
Yeah,
wired ones.
and then Terminator's gonna be the real deal.
It's like the past is gonna reset our future.
Because, like I said, if you also haven't heard, is that most of the higher up grocery stores are now thinking about replacing their employees with robotic counterparts.
Why do you think that is?
What do you mean? What do I think that is? I think, well, then again, I ain't allowed to think. What am I saying? Getting too far ahead of myself.
Okay, let's dial it back to the
That's
vinyl.
why, yeah, that's why I'm saying I wish that I had a lady here who pull my chain back to the original place. But besides that, pretty much the vinyls just, I'm surprised that they're all 33. Because, I mean, look back in the old days, you had the 45s, you had the 78s.
Now, what do you what do those numbers mean?
Pretty much they're the RPM or the speed they go at. 45's a bit
Ah,
faster than 33, and 78's a lot faster.
well, it probably goes the bigger the number, the faster the speed, right?
Yeah, that's the point of RPM.
Sounds fun. So,
So then again, there is one difference about the record players that these things go on. Because this time you ain't got to wind them up.
you just click a button and it starts spinning it?
Well, you plug it in, you turn the dial, and you set the arm down before you had to continuously crank this large crank and get to the RPM you wanted.
That sounds like a very modern day DJ standard.
Again, Cruiser, you got anything to talk about?
As far as I'm concerned, yet.
Hmm.
So, since we're on the topic of violence and it's music, what would you guys say your favorite genres of music are? Your personal favorites?
Well, if I really had to talk about it, that's a long choice. It's anywhere from the 30s and 40s, clear up to the 90s.
I would go just a little bit further than you. I'd go up from the 90s, maybe 80s to the 90s to above. What about you, Cruiser?
I usually like the music like modern now, you know,
So,
2010s through,
the past 2 decades, you would say?
yeah, the last few decades. Up through 2010 through, I'd say now through 2020.
Yeah, pretty much for that type of years to agree with me, it'd have to be religious. Any of the newer music, like say by, uh, God, I don't know any of the newer artists.
Then
There's only
what?
I
one new
use,
artist that I can really say that I like, and that's Imagine Dragons.
they're
I
they're
agree with you
they're
on
good.
that topic. I like the Imagine Dragons.
I like their music. It's pretty good. I usually listen to their music while I'm working out, so they're they're
Sounds
good
like
What's the
good to
difference
songwriters
me.
and
between you and
creators.
me, Cody? I mean, Cruiser, you pretty much you listen to that kind of stuff when working. You got me who listens to the old military marches while working out.
Me, I just don't work out. I'm just not that person to actually work out.
Which is kind of surprising with the new age. I'm pretty sure you're gonna need that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I would need it too. If I just put in a little bit more effort, I might look a lot different. But you never know.
And
yeah.
again, speaking of older technologies that are coming back, you ever hear of the rotary mower? It's making a comeback.
I
I've
have
heard of it.
not heard of the rotary mower.
Yeah, pretty much it's just a non-electronic push mower. You just push it and the blades spin around.
Oh yeah, I know those. Yeah,
So it's
actually,
the friction of the ground moves it.
Yeah, pretty much as you push it, the tires cause the blades to spin, and that pretty much just cuts your grass. It all gets shucked out the back.
actually, at my old house, I had a neighbor who was actually I wouldn't say a scientist, but he actually knew a lot of stuff, and and he had a lot of stuff that was electric because he was that type of guy who didn't want to ruin the environment, you know, from pollution, from exhaust, you know, and carbon dioxide.
So
So
like
Yeah,
I had a neighbor, I had a neighbor who actually owned one of those, and also with a lot of electric stuff because he didn't want to pollute the air.
yeah,
Because
that's why I'm glad that we're getting these electric cars, even though they don't stay charged for very long. They'll still help out a bunch.
sometimes
yeah, but
it's better just to drive the old nice gas guzzlers.
Like I said, if I could get the chance to drive a Duesenberg, I would. Just with all the things we've done to the earth, because like most people agree, is that the human race is the most destructive thing here on earth.
Mhm.
Yeah,
See,
that's a great
but
thing.
now I'm not that type of guy who likes to drive electric vehicles because I think electric vehicles are a bit slower, but I do believe that they can make them faster, like as the gas powered
Yeah, they
vehicles.
just need to give it more charge is the thing.
Hmm.
Uh,
Oh yeah,
Basically, more
I also
battery
did
life.
hear that. I also did hear that here in the future, I'd say I think next year, heard this on the news, but a new vehicle company is actually making a new vehicle that's actually run by hydrogen, I think.
Huh.
Hydrogen.
So, uh,
Yeah, then again, there used to be a car that was actually called the Stanley Steamer, run off of steam.
hmm, that kind of sounds like a what do you call them? I forgot what you call
Steam trains?
them. I forgot what you call them. But
Yeah, pretty much just it's a steam engine, just you can drive it on the road.
Wait, so steam engine vehicles are illegal to drive on roads?
Well, they used to be able to,
Mm, what
before they
happened?
ever came out with gasoline.
What was
how
the
long ago
source?
was this?
1920s?
Oh dang, yeah, that's like over 100 years ago. Wait, no, it is 100 years ago. If it was back in the 1920s,
Yeah, it's somewhere about 20s or before.
it's pretty interesting. Never knew that.
Yeah, they weren't too common, but they did exist.
Sounds very exciting.
But the question is, how can they quit making them? That's the real question.
It's because
Yeah.
gasoline came and stole it, just like video killed the radio star.
Now, what would you say? Would you listen to radio or music online?
Obviously, say an AM transistor radio.
I would just listen to normal radio.
I would radio too because I don't like people who usually flip their music like every 5 seconds.
Yeah. Then again, radios used to be about the size of a frickin' refrigerator.
Yeah, yeah.
Look at them now. Look at them now.
Most
Yeah, they're so
radios
small.
are small computers.
But yeah, everything has changed in the past 100 years, so that's actually a big improvement. But the downside
Oh,
is
God,
pollution and
no
stuff.
kid.
But
Yeah, just think of how it was 10 years ago when we first heard we finally killed Osama bin Laden, even though, sorry to say, that didn't do very much.
but yeah, everything has changed in the past decade to century. So
Yeah,
What would you guys say the most important thing that happened to the past century that mostly affected the world?
I think the thing that would probably most affect the world is probably not use as much gas because of pollution, because I did hear that was getting worse over the years. And I think another thing is that they should shut down power plants so we can use more solar, so that doesn't
here's
pollute
a
much of the
question
air.
for you, Mr. Host. Are we talking about the good effects or the bad effects?
It could be both.
Well, you never know.
Because
Stuff
then
changes.
again, one of the bad effects would be if we continuously depend on technology to do our jobs for us. Like, I'd hate to be the guy who just walks around and I don't see anybody walking on the street because lo and behold, they're sitting in their houses becoming bigger and bigger because they just have technology to get them whatever they want. They don't got to work. All they got to do is eat, sleep, do whatever they want, repeat.
Well, first of all, you got some people that actually, that do care about their health. Well,
Yeah,
Well, you do have a lot
but
of people that do,
if you haven't
which
noticed in the recent years, especially with Generation Z, that's pretty much most of the people say, oh, we want this free. We don't need to work for it. Just that's what's sort of screwing us up.
people do need to work for this stuff because look at 100 years back. Look how many people have worked for this stuff and almost about
Oh,
died. You know.
God. And look at the amount of debt we've got is the problem. And then
Yeah,
how
that's another
it's
problem too.
keeping increasing, especially with these amounts of unemployment rates that we haven't seen since 100 years ago.
Hmm.
Now, what do you think most of those unemployments are caused by?
If you had to ask me, it's mainly just, well, at the same time, factories laying off people is one of them, which I could understand. That's because of this whole virus that's going around. That's perfectly fine. But then at the same time, you got those other people that see this as a good advantage to get a nice welfare check.
I mean, like, yeah,
Yeah,
just like the governor of New York said, he said that young people are not Superman or Superwoman. You know, they can still go
Yeah.
after you, even if you're still young. You know, they can still kill you,
Yep.
possibly. I mean,
now
like,
Nobody
since
is
we're
truly safe from this virus unless we stick to the social distancing guidelines.
but it ain't gonna happen
Like,
because people don't really care about it. Well, you know, the people who have parties and stuff don't really care about it. Which,
well, look at where we were 100 years ago, just for an example, with the Spanish flu epidemic. We're technically that now. And if my speculation is right, this whole entire pandemic will most likely will not be done until somewhere about 2021.
this
well,
whole
they are.
coronavirus
Well, they,
pandemic is basically just a play for the government to get more money, if you think about it.
I don't think it's because of that.
Or it's
I mean,
more
like,
for their economy.
Well, to me, here's the problem. If they're saying that they wanted more money, why would they release something that could potentially kill thousands upon millions of innocent people who have nothing to do with this
Sometimes,
and span it
some,
across multiple continents?
sometimes it's just a play to get money from other countries, if you think about it.
I mean, like, how come the U.S. would want to do that if the virus came from somewhere else? You know, I mean, like, the,
Well,
I mean, like,
that's the
the
problem. There's a
virus,
lot of
the
shady
virus,
people in the world.
the virus wasn't here in the United States when it started. Which I'm not going to say where it started because I don't want to start any arguments.
It's,
Yeah.
it
So
started from a third world country.
Well,
I'm not going to
here's
say
the
where it
problem.
started because I do not want to start any arguments.
Yeah, and then again, here's the problem with that. Who's to say that somebody didn't team up with somebody else? I'm not naming names and I ain't pointing fingers.
Yeah,
But besides that, let's get on to a different, less stressful topic.
All right. Do you guys want to
Because
talk
guys,
about?
you know how you guys end when I got Grandpa's old cough medicine and go off the rails in 3 seconds.
yeah.
I guess we could talk about um um. Well, what type do you guys want to talk about?
I'll leave this
Ah,
up to Mr. Host, because that'd be a good thing.
Okay.
let's move to NASCAR.
Ah,
All right.
yes, the wonderful second American sport, created in 1948, the greatest thing that ever existed since baseball.
NASCAR, my favorite sport, which I do want to join that someday, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Oh,
I mean, like,
trust
You
me, you
never
can reach.
know.
If you just follow your dreams strong enough, you'll make it.
it takes a lot of work, but 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 all I gotta say is about NASCAR over the last decade. Well, actually, um, yeah, I would say in the last decade, I would say NASCAR has improved its technology for safety. I mean, like look at in 2015 how Austin Dillon has survived a crash up in the catch fence. I mean, like
Yeah,
I mean, like like that was the day NASCAR stood still again, because people thought he
yeah,
actually perished right there. And then
yeah. It
also
was like
also
that.
look at Ryan Newman, who got in that huge wreck too. That was this Daytona 500. I mean, like
Yeah,
it's
it's like
crazy.
how far. Yeah, that's why I'm glad that safety precautions have been put in for that. Because take Fireball Roberts. He didn't survive
Hmm.
that when that fence went right through his car.
Hmm. I mean, like NASCAR has made a lot of improvements over the last decade, and so on.
It seems like they
Yes,
have.
it's even though one of their safety precautions wasn't that great, the restrictor plate, as Dale Earnhardt said, it just makes it more dangerous because the cars are more grouped together.
I think I took those out, didn't they? For
I don't
long tracks.
remember them taking it out.
I thought they did because in this Daytona 500 they reached over about 200, I think,
Huh.
or unless or
And
unless it was or
since
unless it
the
was
time
because
of
of
Bill
drafting.
Elliott, yeah, drafting could have been a factor. And again, there was a
Yeah,
time that Bill Elliott tried that, ended up wrecking his entire car just in qualifying.
look at Bobby Allison. He got up at the catch fence, almost out into the grandstands. I think he
Yeah,
reached about, I'm not sure, but it was over 200, blowing a right rear tire, and also got up in the grandstands that one time. But luckily nobody got hurt, and luckily he didn't get hurt either.
yeah, that's the thankful part.
Like I, I did watch a documentary not too long ago, which it was only like 5 minutes, and it did talk about that crash, and it showed us. I forgot his name, but it showed. I mean, I forgot his name, but he said if he wouldn't be doing that interview right now. He said so.
Yeah, that's the truth of
So
it
I
all.
so so when he said that, I started thinking to myself. So let me guess, if Bobby Allison would have got up in the grandstands, NASCAR would have been over with.
Yeah, pretty
So,
much.
Now, I
so
have something to
jeez.
say.
Yeah,
Before we go on, I think now is a perfect time for an ad break. What about you?
perfect time for a what?
An ad break.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Nice time to crack open a nice, ice cold bottle of Coca Cola. Because there's nothing that beats that sweet, chocolatey taste of a nice ice cold Coke, but at the same time, with the great taste of the Coke Cherry.
That is agreeable.
Yep, because it's always the real thing, always Coca Cola.